Welcome to today's webinar. So I am really excited about today's session. We're going to talk about building inbound marketing, solid inbound marketing with your CPA firm and using HubSpot. I'm going to facilitate today's session. My name is Tom Wadelton. I'm one of the virtual CFOs here at Summit CPA Group. In doing that, I get to work directly with clients and act as their CFO. I'm also active with the AICPA and the Indiana CPA Society. So I'm going to go through some of the administrative things, but I'm going to get us jumped right off with the first polling question while I do that. Okay, so if you'll answer those. So today is good for 1 CPE credit. You do have to attend the entire 50-minute session and answer. We've got 3 polling questions. All 3 of those need to be answered. One of the common questions we get is, how do I get my CPE certificate? That's going to be emailed soon to everyone who meets the criteria. And then I want to make a point about the question function. We don't have voice, we don't have the audience participating via voice, so questions is the best way that we can interact with our speaker today. And we really like that we use the question function pretty significantly. So I'll monitor that a lot during the time. We'll try to get those questions to Austin during the session today and get them answered while we're going. And then finally, the replay, the slides, and email, everything will be sent by tomorrow. So let me just tell you a little bit about Summit CPA, and I am going to close the poll in just about 20 seconds. So the firm I work for since 2004 has been providing the CFO services I mentioned before. So CFO and back office accounting services. In 2013, we went fully distributed as a remote firm. So I know just about every firm last year would have done that during the pandemic. We did that earlier, and so we have team members all across the country and also clients. So currently 55 team members. I said across the country, we actually have several that are outside the US. And then that's also given us flexibility around the country for clients, and we've also got clients internationally. So let me go ahead and close the poll here. And what I see for participants is it looks like about 70% of our people are in firms less than 10 people. So a lot of small firms represented here, which I think is just great for today. Whoops, I'm going backwards here. Okay, so our 2 speakers for today. Austin Gentile. Austin is a partner partner development manager with HubSpot. And so he's going to talk to us about inbound sales and what HubSpot can do with that. And then our internal marketing director at Summit CPA Group is Kelly Schuknecht. And Kelly's been working with us. We do use HubSpot, so she's got some thoughts on how HubSpot works and how we've used it and things like that today. So welcome to both of you. And how we're going to do this is we're going to talk about why this particular topic, and especially why for accountants. A case study, I think a great way to do learning is to walk through a case study. We'll talk about the HubSpot Marketing Hub overview, and then Q&A if people have questions at the end. But as I mentioned, we're going to be monitoring those throughout. So we'd really like to kind of get those fit in as we go throughout. So Kelly, do you want to tell us a little bit about kind of biggest challenges around sales and marketing?
Yeah, so I thought for a second I wasn't going to be on this webinar. I had a hard time getting my camera on. We were talking earlier about all the things that can go wrong when you're doing a webinar, so there you go. But I'm here, and we asked in our community, what are some of the biggest challenges that you all face around sales and marketing? And so here are a few of the responses that we got from you guys. Fear of rejection, for one, so being told no by a potential client, overwhelm of new business, being scared to, take on new business because what if you can't handle it all? Getting teammates on board. And I think the idea behind this one was, as marketers, we're bringing in new leads. That's what we do. That's what we work on, bringing in new leads, bringing in new clients. And there's nothing more frustrating than when team members don't want to take on new clients because they're overwhelmed or just don't see the vision of what we're, the services that we're providing. Hiring the right contractors for marketing, SEO, strategy, content, etc. So maybe you've identified that you need help. You need somebody to help you with the marketing area, and how do you find that person? How do you know who to bring on, and if they're the right person.
You're saying accountants, they're not naturally marketing,
well,
SEO.
So here's my next one, right? So getting shy accountants on camera to help build the trust factor. I totally get this one, right? Because like Tom was saying, accountants tend to be those heads down, get the work done type people, right? And they don't want to be in the spotlight. So that can be a challenge. Those were a few that we heard from the community, but if you have more, put them in the questions box. We want to just see where you guys are at, and we can share some of those as we go.
Kelly, very first question, SEO. Can you tell what SEO is?
Can I? Oh, that's the question.
Yes.
I'm like, you're asking me that, Tom?
No.
SEO, search engine optimization. We will actually get into that here in a little bit. So ask more when we get to that point if we're not covering what you want to hear. But Austin will get into that a little bit more as he starts talking about inbound marketing.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, please keep asking the questions. Whatever we aren't covering, we'll be happy to try to answer your questions as we go. We thought it would be good to start just with a little bit of an overview of how Summit CPA uses HubSpot. We use it in more ways than this, but these are a few things I wanted to highlight as we're talking specifically about marketing. We use HubSpot to manage our, and Austin, you can say, what is our package again? It's like Growth Hub or something. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Austin could share that if he finds it. But we use HubSpot to manage our website, our blog. We do email through HubSpot, and one of the things, if you're in this webinar, you probably got an email from us. That was an email that we sent out in bulk to people who have come to our webinars, who have signed up to get notifications of when we're doing the webinars. But we also use the email function where, like in Outlook, or I think in Gmail, probably other service providers, you can track your emails back and forth. So the emails that you're sending to a potential client, the emails that you're getting from them, you can keep track of those in HubSpot so that you can bring up the contact record and you can see the communications that you've had with that person or other teammates have had with that person. So we use that a lot. And then forms and CTAs. So forms, if you're here, more than likely you've filled out a form on our website, which is through HubSpot. And the CTAs, so that's call to actions. HubSpot has an area where you can set up buttons and clickable text that you can use in different areas of your site. Those help, basically, usually when they click on that, they're going to fill out a form. Those kind of work together. But those are some of the, kind of the higher level overview of how we use HubSpot. Again, if you have questions kind of about that or other areas, go ahead and put them in the questions box. But I'll let Austin take it from there.
All right. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yep. You sound great.
Perfect. Tom, are we going to get started with, there's a poll question here?
There is. Yep. Let me go ahead and launch that now. And if you want to talk a little bit about case studies and why we do this, but yep, we've got our second poll question up on the screen.
Awesome. So while you all are filling this out, first want to, give a big thank you to both Kelly and Tom for, inviting me, to be a part of this webinar. And I'm very fortunate to be able to, work at HubSpot, with a lot of the businesses that we work with. And I think one thing that just gets me excited, gets me up and running out of bed every day, is HubSpot is helping a lot of small businesses. Not everybody wants to work for, the big corporate company, right? Not everybody is as fortunate, right? And so a lot of folks are starting their own small businesses. I've tried to start and I failed at a few small businesses myself for a little bit of context. But I've seen HubSpot really help a lot of, these small businesses. And so I think for today, knowing that you all have accounting firms kind of fall into that bucket, I'm hoping this information is going to be impactful, and, hopefully you all are able to take away, a couple tidbits of information that, might help you all grow, land the next client, pay the next bill. And so those are all things that, I'm pretty excited about. And as far as just, what we're going to do first is we're going to take a deep dive in on a case study of a company similar to your all's. We'll take a look at an accounting company here. And I think, it's going to be a similar story, hopefully, to what you all are experiencing. And before we take a deep dive on the tools, I think, just showing you all kind of where you all can take things to help put some stuff into perspective here. So
I'm going to go ahead and close the poll in about 10 seconds. I'm glad we're starting the
Perfect.
case study. I think stories are just a great way to show people, and
Yeah.
especially using one for an accounting firm. I think that's a great way. So let me go ahead and close this, and then
Okay.
I'll show you the results, because I think it's great just for you to know where
I'm
we're on
really
this.
proud of this group that nobody is using paper. That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's
That's good to
impressive.
see. That's good to see.
I don't know, Austin, are you surprised 40% in most of our firms, or 10 or less people, are using some type of a CRM solution? That's a little bit higher than I thought that it would be in there.
Yeah, I'm delighted. That makes me very happy to see. My hope is that everybody that's using an Excel spreadsheet will walk away today feeling comfortable to even use like the free HubSpot CRM, to kind of help things out. But it's good, right? To have like some process in place is a really good thing. Well, all right, so let's dive into it. So what we're looking at right here is Weller's Accountants. And this is a firm located in the UK, so they're across the pond here. And I will say this website does look a bit advanced, right? Not everybody's here, their website will look the same. But these folks have been working with us and on our Marketing Hub and our CMS since 2016. So if you see this and you're a little bit overwhelmed, they weren't always this way. This wasn't how it originally looked when they first started working with us. So a little backstory, and let's start going over the case study. In 2011, Weller's Accountants hired Chris Thompson as a marketing consultant. And at that point, Chris had kind of started educating himself on HubSpot. And in 2016, that is when Weller's actually added our Marketing Hub, our CMS, because they really wanted to start driving people to their website. Mm-hmm. And when Chris Thompson first joined this company, he kind of had his work cut out for him. They had, at that time, they had no dedicated marketing functions. There wasn't like a marketing team. There was no major marketing budget. So originally, Chris's plan was to focus on like the content. He mentioned that before coming to HubSpot, we had started implementing more of a content-based, approach to marketing for quite a few years, and that worked well. And that kind of pairs, with, the overall HubSpot, HubSpot's Marketing Hub, because we are pretty content-driven. But there were challenges in driving consistent traffic, right? They found themselves a little too reliant on a tiny handful of posts for a lot of traffic, or maybe one advertisement on Facebook, and the competition they felt was starting to build up here, and the website was actually starting to suffer traffic wise. So Chris Thompson, he realized, hey, something's missing from this equation. They lacked tools and, to kind of, take things to the next level. And that's when they really decided to move forward with HubSpot in a more serious fashion. So immediately there was an impact. HubSpot allowed Chris to start gathering really easily digestible data on his different marketing channels. Chris noted out, right, when I log into HubSpot, I can see what our vital metrics are on custom dashboards. Data on total sessions, sources, and channels are available in real time. He says that I can see performance as it's happening and progressing from day to day. If I send out an email, I can sit there and watch the email stats flow in real time. This capability was particularly useful of late when we'd send out communications about government and usual things during COVID times. And so I think what he's noted out is, the theme here is like a lot of data started flowing in as soon as they, started moving forward with HubSpot. A lot of folks hear marketing, they think, oh, content, but a lot of this marketing is data driven, which is numbers driven. And I know I'm speaking with accountants, so hopefully I'm speaking, your language a little here. But this data really started to allow Chris to, make informed decisions on how they invest into different marketing channels and where to strategically put advertising dollars, making his bosses and managers very happy. And then Chris started driving really highly qualified traffic to Weller's website through things like our SEO and blogging tools. Weller's generated significant amount of qualified traffic, and many of these visitors, actually became customers after engaging with their content, which became kind of like a crucial source of revenue. And Chris found that these visitors were more likely to turn into leads because they had already started engaging, with the company by engaging, with their content. And I think, like, last but not least, right, using our reporting, he was able to present very clear ROI to his partners at Weller's. And he actually was also able to work with an inbound consultant that was provided with their marketing package on a little bit of their, inbound marketing strategy to see consistent success. So, last quote here from Chris Thompson. If you took HubSpot away, our team wouldn't be able to do what we do. It's essential. It's vital that we have this, and we make use of it. It's like the spine of our marketing. It's a key component. And this is what I love about HubSpot. Easy to use, easy to get supported on, and easy to report on the successes. And I think when you're thinking about, your marketing decisions, those dollars that you're spending on it, those components, I think are some pretty important ingredients.
Austin, I would guess that you'd probably say that those who said they're using Excel or a manual database would have a hard time keeping up with a lot of the stats, right? You can track some things, but really keep track of sort of what's my response of all these things is really hard to do. Or my thought, if I tried, I'd probably be spending all my time in the guts of Excel and none of it actually looking at the data. Yeah,
it gets complicated. I think it's a really smart way to get started. But right, it's HubSpot's free CRM is kind of like a Google suite, right, for free CRM. So, getting this type of information in early on in your company's life cycle, that's also going to really help you, right? When you open up a contact record, you're going to have more data right off the base. So it's a good way to get started. But as far as organization goes and being able to make these data-driven decisions, that's where you start to see the value.
So I want to share just what I think is kind of a funny story, but the insights that you get from HubSpot or from something other than if you're tracking things in Excel, you wouldn't know where people come from necessarily. But when we first launched our course, one of the things I always used to say was that people aren't trying to find their accountant on Instagram, but we use Instagram, we share information on Instagram. It's more of just on our side, just awareness, building awareness, letting people know what we're doing behind the scenes kind of thing. And when we first launched our course, I was watching the tracking codes in HubSpot and saw that one of the very first people who signed up for the course came from Instagram, which I would have never known if I hadn't had that insight behind the scenes. So it really helps right now I can tell, where people are coming from as far as our different social media channels, and those things would be impossible to know if you weren't using a system like this to track it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think just one thing to add there, Kelly, is ease of use, right? You hear all this, you think, okay, that's great, but this is going to be so complicated to set up. This is going to be, so hard to kind of get this data. And I think, that's something where HubSpot really excels is it's easy to use, right out of the box. You can set this up. They have, look, I'm not technical. They have everybody at HubSpot, when you first get hired, go create a HubSpot account, build a website, put marketing on it. It makes it easy for people like me to do it. So, that's kind of, if you're worried about getting started, the technical overhead, it's a lot easier, hopefully, than you'd be, expected to be.
Yeah.
So cool. All right, Tom, let's take a look at some of these results.
Okay.
Go. All right. So here are the results. 2019, an 150% increase in new traffic sessions. This is massive. It seriously is. Because when you think about, what goes into getting a client, you're building a funnel, right? And the more you could put in at the top of the funnel, the more that's going to come out the bottom. It's simple stuff. But I think I just really want to point out that they got HubSpot in 2016. And HubSpot is like going to the gym, right? You're not going to get in great shape on the very first day that you go to the gym, but if you can keep up with it, the results are really going to pay off. And the best time to start going to the gym was a year ago. The second best time is today, right? So, that is, I think, something I wanted to add in there. And then, next big result here are, 14 blogs ranking on page 1 of Google for high traffic. Everybody wants to be on page 1. Every single person wants to be on page 1 of Google. And they'll, hop in, you guys.
Oh, no, I think we were both agreeing with you.
Yep.
Keep going.
Cool. And then, all right. And then for high traffic snippets one. What does that mean? So a snippet is like a featured keyword that you rank on page for. So number one is to know like which features, snippet keywords your site is already ranking for. It helps, for folks to know kind of like their searcher's intent. When creating more content, it means it's more impactful. And so these are all really good indicators that, hey, HubSpot's helping to drive, a lot of folks to their website.
We have a question, Austin, and I'm just going to go ahead and ask this one, and we can talk. I don't know if you'll talk more about integrations later, but if you have a WordPress website already, can it integrate with HubSpot?
Absolutely. Yeah, that is one of like our best integrations. The free version will integrate in there. Marketing Starter, if you were to go with that, you'd be able to put custom forms onto WordPress and then have people fill out those forms, and it flows right into your CRM. Even with a free version, you could put a live chat onto your WordPress website, start qualifying people, have all those conversations in your CRM. So yeah, that's a great question.
Good. Okay, you ready to go on to the next slide?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
All right. So now comes the fun part. We're going to really take a look at some of the details of our Marketing Hub and kind of some of like the basic foundations of, what makes up our Marketing Hub and kind of like some of like the meat on the bone here, how it helps actually generate more leads and convert those leads into customers. So Tom, is it all right if we do just a quick informal or just like a poll here? Just want to hear like on a scale of 1 to 10, before you all kind of came into this, how well would you say, you knew what inbound marketing was?
So 1 would be probably had never heard of it, couldn't define it, and 10 would be I could teach it, right? Something like that?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So if people would, we don't have a poll up, but if you would just put it in the question section and just put in a 1 to 10 scale on your thoughts about inbound marketing. And if you want to go ahead, Austin, I'll just let you know as we get enough in that I can kind of tell you what I'm seeing in results.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And I think this is so important to know, because HubSpot really, that is like the overall method. It's like, what are we really talking about here? This is all, inbound marketing. Before I just kind of like go over this definition, anything back in the polls here, Tom? I know it's been pretty
kind
quick.
Of all over.
It is. It looks like the majority looking through, most of them are above a 5, lots of 6s and above, but we do have some 3s and things like that. We probably have about 15 responders, and it ranges from, I see a 3 all the way up to a 10 in there, but most of them are in that like 5 to 8 kind of area.
Cool. Well, look, if we could get, most of you all in that 8 to 9 range at the end of this, we'll call it a good webinar here. But inbound marketing in simple terms, right? It's the process of helping potential customers find your company. And it's a strategy that uses many forms to pull marketing from content marketing to blogs, events, search engine optimization, social media, and more, to kind of create brand awareness and attract new business. In the real world, so I live in Boston. There's 1 billion different restaurants in Boston. And quite frankly, I'm not going to go to a restaurant that I know nothing about. most of the time, I pick, hey, which restaurant am I going to go to based off of recommendations, based off of going online, right, seeing what do people like to go to, what are my friends talking about. It's kind of creating a buzz through multiple different channels. And so that's also similar to inbound marketing, using social media, monitoring, having really good, ad management, things of that nature. So that's inbound marketing from a high level. But it's also what allows, the little and smaller companies to punch up, right, and attract the attention that larger companies, marketing budgets allow them for, right? So it's, inbound marketing, and we went over this earlier, but it's really, our sweet spot is small to mid-sized companies. That's where we see a lot of folks get great value out of the tools. And so for you all, this is, HubSpot may seem expensive, it may seem complicated, but this is a good way to start positioning yourself against those other big companies and allowing yourself to see a lot of the same successes. So
Austin, since you mentioned it's a great way to start, if I can ask you another question. So Meyer asks, and Kelly, you might have thoughts on this too. Do you think that hiring the right marketing consultant is a good start for a marketing campaign and to start working with HubSpot? And maybe you have answers for both of those, whether it's a campaign and HubSpot.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're going to hire, it all depends on what you're looking to do. But if you're going to hire like a really good marketing person, you're probably going to have to pay them on salary unless you're getting somebody right out of college, right? And then you think about things like benefits, you think about vacation time, insurance, right? All of that, right? And you can take a portion of that, hire a marketing consultant, you pay them on like a monthly basis, but they're going to have, more experience, working within there. So it looks a little different for every type of company, but I do think there is a really good use case for, bringing on a marketing consultant. And the really cool thing is, Tom, COVID, it's been a horrible pandemic, it's been a horrible thing, but it has shown a lot of folks who, work for those big companies that were marketing, CMOs and, marketing managers that, hey, they can also be marketing consultants. And we've got this flood of people consulting, just starting their businesses that, maybe aren't going to be the most expensive marketing consultant, but they're going to be very hungry to help you see some success. So it kind of depends, but I think it could be a good call there.
And second, for HubSpot, would it be typical that if I started using HubSpot, I would hire a consultant to help me with that? Or is it such that a lot of people would say, if I'm a little bit technical, I can implement HubSpot and get some of the benefits on my own?
I would say for the free tools and the starter tools, those are meant to be self-serviced. And that's like a really cool thing about the platform. Once you do start elevating to like a professional level package and beyond, if you've got like some systems in place, we will go through onboarding. Like you can absolutely run like the Marketing Hub Professional package as a non-marketer. But that's also, we've got solution providers, solution partners who are willing to also help. So kind of depends on what your bandwidth looks like. But those like free and starter packages, totally anybody can work with them and start to really see some success.
Okay.
Austin, what level does the chat support come with? Is that the professional?
Yeah.
Okay.
So chat.
I can attest to like that chat support is fantastic. Anytime I get stuck,
that.
I can reach out to them and get immediate help with whatever I'm working on.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, chat support's also in the starter tools as well. The free tools, if you're just using the free tools, it's not as glamorous, but we do have our inbound success coach team. And you could always call in, talk with those folks, and they're willing to help. Lot of questions will come, when you first start to like set this up, and every level there's at least some sort of support.
Yeah. I'll also say, I was new to HubSpot when I started Summit. I hadn't used it before. But when so when I came in, I really explored the Learning Center with HubSpot. So HubSpot has a whole I don't know how many videos are in there, but the Learning Center, I went through it and was like, okay, what do I need to know? And I just went through course after course to learn everything about. So it's you can be very self-taught in it. Like I said, I hadn't even used it before, and then learned everything I needed to know. Sometimes I get stuck, but then like I said, they have great support. So I really suggest, if you do have HubSpot or are going to go with HubSpot, going through some of those Learning Center courses. And speaking of inbound marketing, there's a whole inbound marketing certification course that I went through, and I think it's worth exploring.
Kelly, that's an amazing point. And just to note out, those academy courses, those HubSpot Academy courses, they're the same ones that we take internally. We use HubSpot internally for all of our processes to run the business off of, and we give everybody access, to the same trainings that internal employees at HubSpot have access to. And I think that's a really cool thing for any small team looking to get started. Maybe you don't have the largest budget. You could take an hour or two, and really kind of elevate yourself quickly.
Yeah.
Okay, ready to jump to next slide?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
All right. So this is like a really high level overview, but I just wanted to kind of show you all just a little bit of what each marketing package looks like. We're going to dive into the starter and professional packages, but really to kind of show you all, the intent here is a lot of features come with it. And there's 3 levels. We got the marketing starter level, really meant to be kind of like an introduction to inbound marketing, cost effective, affordable, highly powerful still. That marketing professional package is that center column there. And this is the package that's really going to allow companies to put in place a full inbound marketing strategy. It's our flagship package. It's really what HubSpot was built off of. 10 years ago, if you were to reach out to us, this would be really kind of like the only package you'd be able to get. And I think that's pretty cool. And then we've got that Marketing Hub Enterprise package. Not going to touch base on Marketing Hub Enterprise too much today. I don't think all of you will have too much of a use case for it, but it really kind of stands out from the pack and makes things like organizational skill, reporting, account-based marketing very easy to do. And it is a very powerful package. But we're going to kind of focus on the first column on the left and the center column. Cool. So let's talk about Marketing Hub Starter, because I think that's a really good starting spot for a lot of you all in this group. To really, kind of put things into perspective, the cost here is $50 per month, and you'll be able to get started right away. As I kind of mentioned, it's really intended to be like a self-service package, easy to use right out of the box, but also highly customizable. And so let's take a little bit of a deeper, take a look into some of these components. And I'm going to start with ad management, because so often people will say, look, we're spending thousands of dollars every single month on, Facebook ads, Google ads. And I think immediately being able to see the impact of your ads from a click to purchase perspective across Facebook, Instagram, Google, that's just going to help you, make better decisions. And, this is going to help you kind of start to prove the ROI from the get-go. And then, any good ad campaign will have a call to action at the bottom of it, where it's going to take you to a landing page, right? And that's kind of like the second component here. And with our landing pages and forms, you can really attract and convert qualified, website visitors into leads by creating professional looking landing pages that are customizable, mobilely optimized, pop-ups, and there's no coding required. And this is right from the starter package. So you're going to put in place a really good ad campaign and it's going to drive folks right on into the landing page, right? And you're going to have the customizable forms to convert these people. So then what, right? Now that we've converted these folks, right, you're going to need a place to store them. And we've been talking about this the whole time, but that's really where, our CRM kind of starts to come into place. The CRM is customizable from day one. We've got jewelry companies using it. We've got car dealers using it. We've got financial companies using the CRM, tech companies, right? Very customizable. So you can customize it, right, to have special fields for accountants, right? If you want to know whatever it is you want to know, and the data you collect off the forms will go right into the CRM. And then what, right? Well, let's try to start selling some of these people. Let's try to start converting some of these folks into leads. And so say, you take an accounted, you have a question on the form, it's accounting based, right? Information you want to know, information you want to sell off of. It goes into the CRM. You can start segmenting these people, right? You got 100 people fill out the form. Maybe you want to email 20 people whose favorite color is blue. I don't know why you'd want to do it, but just to give an example here. And you can start to build in this list segmentation to really kind of like divide folks out and see what your different buckets look like. And then last is email marketing. That's the flagship part of our marketing, starter package. 9 times out of 10, when people say, hey, I want to get going marketing starter, it's to go over email marketing. And I think, you might be kind of thinking right now in your seats, like, hey, Austin, MailChimp, right? MailChimp does email marketing, but it's much cheaper. And you would be right. However, as you could kind of see here, our email marketing platform is way more, I would say, advanced, right? With the ad management, with the segmentation, the landing pages, the forms, the CRM in place. But it also is going to guarantee a high delivery rate. You're not allowed to load like paid lists into like the HubSpot CRM. If you send, these email marketing emails, you want them to be delivered, not to go into the spam buckets. And it's also going to give you tools that'll make sure each email is highly optimized, really giving you the best shot when you send out these campaigns to have somebody look at and hopefully convert. And then finally here, kind of like that reporting aspect, right? You'll be able to get all of your essential reports in one place, learn which forms are driving the most conversions and, get essential email, ad, contact analytics. So all of these components make up, our Marketing Hub starter package. I guess Tom or Kelly, anything you guys want to add into this or any thoughts about all of this?
No, I was just thinking how my list at the beginning of what we use is very similar to your list here. So we use all of these features except for the ads. We don't do ads, but we use everything else there. We'll get into that, into some of them in a little bit more detail here as we come on these next few slides.
So if we go on and then talk about professional, and Austin, we've got about 15 minutes left. Just
all right, perfect. So Marketing Hub Professional. I think everybody here could benefit from the CRM. And I think most people here could benefit right away from, getting going on like that Marketing Hub starter package. Marketing Hub Professional, I would recommend to everybody, should be a goal you all are trying to get to within, kind of like the next year or so. HubSpot does a really good job of having kind of like a seed and grow kind of opportunity for smaller businesses to come in and get started. But when you're really ready to put your foot to the pedal and really kind of start accelerating that marketing plan, similar to, that Weller's accountants page that we looked at earlier, this is going to be the plan that you most likely go with. And it is the number one, package that HubSpot sells. It's the thing that most people purchase and kind of like get going with. So it's a really good goal for you all to kind of, reach towards. And there's 3 components that we're going to go over of the Marketing Hub Professional plan. So you can just understand from a high level how it's going to work, right, for your own business. And so, the three things that this package is going to do very well, and they're noted out there, it's going to attract people to your website. It's going to convert those folks, right, from just visitors into leads into the CRM. And then it's going to allow you to take a deep dive into the reporting and analytics of your efforts to really kind of prove and show that ROI. All right. Tom?
Yep.
Perfect.
So as you talk through this, Austin, I'm going to go ahead and launch the last poll question, which does relate directly to sort of how do you draw this kind of attention? How do you generate leads?
Yeah.
Okay. So that poll
absolutely. So, and the reason why I wanted to have this poll question in here is for all of you to kind of compare it against your peers. I think it's so important to just understand, right, how other folks are kind of doing it today. If anybody kind of has something in place, if you're a new accounting firm and you're like, hey, we don't do anything for, lead generation just yet, right? This could be, a good poll here just to understand how, some of your peers are, kind of getting started. I think just in general, ads is going to be a really great place for a lot of you all to, get out there and, start targeting some folks. But Tom, what are we getting for some of these results here?
So we've got about 80% of the people who have come in. 40% say they don't do any of the 4 blogs, videos, workshops. We've got 25% doing blogs. Well, it's about equal. Blogs, workshops, and then all of the above is about equal. So I'll give about 10 seconds, then I'll show you the results real quickly. But it looks like a pretty good opportunity because we're still more than 35% saying they don't do any of those options.
Perfect. And just for time management here, we've got 6 minutes, and then we go into the Q&A.
We have about 10 minutes left. Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So, yeah, some folks don't do anything, right? Some people are relying on low-hanging fruits, word of mouth, right? And this is good until you hit a certain level, until you want to really kind of start accelerating your growth. So, yeah, let's hop in here. So 3 ways the Marketing Hub kind of really helps these companies attracting attention, converting them, and then the reporting. So on the attract attention side, right, we've got social media tools, right, kind of starting to, manage, monitor, prioritize some of the social media conversations. If you're running, a marketing department, you've probably got, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, so many of these different, things that you're going to be posting on. It's going to allow you to make all of those posts from one spot, saving you all a lot of time. There's video tools, right, allowing you to, embed really powerful video content into, everything that you're, posting, all of your blogs. I would say the video at the beginning of this webinar, Tom, could be some video content you guys embed. That's some good stuff there. But if your social media strategy is working well, you're making beautiful videos, another thing that you're going to, want to be doing to attract people to the website is blogging. It's so important to become a thought leader. When as I mentioned beforehand, I like word of mouth. I take a look at the top 10 burger joints in Boston before I go make a decision. Half of those articles are written by one of the burger joints, on that list. And so blogging may seem like it's like going running. No one likes to do it, but start doing it. It's really important. It really helps you become that thought leader. When we think back to Weller's, accountants, that's a big part of their strategy. All right, let's hop to the next one here. And then you might be thinking, hey, we got to become an expert in SEO. Not the case. We've got an SEO tool that's going to, take a look at all of those social media posts, all the video content you're putting out, all of the, blogging, blog articles that you're putting together. And it's going to help you build kind of like a search authority and outrank your competitors, on, the different search functions. Google doesn't share with people what makes it so you get to be on the front page of Google, and it's constantly changing. But we've got kind of some of like the best SEO experts in the business studying this, working with our SEO tool to make sure it's impactful. And then as far as the tracking attention goes, we've touched base upon this before, but that ad tracking and management, I can't express how important this is. And the reason is because that's where most people spend their money. So you really want to be putting that into the right spots. My favorite thing here is you can use the SEO tool and the blogging tool in unison to create really beautiful blogs that get a lot of engagement. And then when you're making your next advertisement, instead of pushing out some random content, you could take the content that has gotten the most conversions, right, using these tools, push that out on the advertisement side, and really have some impactful, content to bring people to the site. And then there's also like, live chat as well, bots, things like that. So that's kind of some
SEO, I can speak from our example. I did a lot of keyword research, and we use that SEO tool to kind of organize our core topics. And then within each core topic, what were those keywords that we wanted to focus on? And then in that SEO tool, it lets you you link the page. So it might be a blog post like Austin mentioned, but it might be a landing page, might be a website page. You could link that within the keyword in the SEO tool so that you're seeing all of, visually seeing what those pages are, where you might have holes in your content, and then you can work on those pieces to make sure that you're covering all of the keywords within the topics that you want to be covering. So that was very, very helpful for us.
Yeah, it is so cool. Once you can start seeing what's kind of going to be most impactful here, putting all of your eggs in those types of baskets, it helps you make smart decisions, which I think just from a spending money perspective, right, that's what we're all looking to do. What's going to make us the most ROI? What's going to make our stakeholders, our managers, our wallets the most happy? And so all of these things kind of play into it. All right, let's hop into, converting leads. So great. We spent a lot of money bringing people to the website, right? You spend a lot of money doing that. There's a lot of different components. You might as well convert these folks into leads while they're there. Everybody here knows that a bad website experience will just literally kill, somebody goes onto a website, it looks ugly, looks like it's built in 1990, folks aren't going to convert into leads. And so you want to have kind of like a strategy in place, right? If we're spending those dollars, how do we maximize them? How do we give ourselves the best chance at converting these people onto the website? And we've got tools like a landing page builder, a form builder, right? These are going to help you to optimize kind of like those landing pages, those forms. If you're not aware, typically the flow is somebody will maybe get your website from a blog, they'll click onto a CTA, that's going to bring them over to a landing page with a form where they can fill out that form and go into, the CRM. All of these components need to work together flawlessly to give yourself the best chance to convert these people. And then marketing automation, the number one tool of HubSpot. Every single person that I talk to wants to have some sort of automation in place. Small companies, big companies, how cool would it be, you have a great, conversion path in place. As soon as they fill out that form, you put together a smart, email campaign that's automatically sent out to them, start nurturing your leads. So, that marketing automation is a really big part of this as well. And then Tom, we'll hop over to the next couple of slides here. The last couple of things here, account-based marketing tools and lead tracking and management tools. So from a high level, this lead tracking and management tools, it's going to allow you to get kind of the full picture on every lead in your database. And then you'll be able to kind of start segmenting, as we talked about beforehand. But these conversion tools are really meant to help take your website to the next level. Take your website, take your strategy, and put some meat behind the bone there. So anything you guys want to add in, Tom and Kelly? Any maybe missing here?
No, I on the last slide, I did have an example for the marketing automation. You mentioned, the email campaigns, and most people here probably know that we keep it very simple as far as our emails. We don't do a lot of email marketing, but we do use that automation for a couple of things. The quoting tool. So anyone who's familiar with our pricing calculator, we created the pricing calculator basically through like through an automate. I don't know if it's a form exactly, but something in HubSpot where when somebody goes through and they can basically answer all the questions and then get a quote. And so the marketing automation is set up so that they get the quote delivered to them by email, and then I get a copy too, so I know that that person went through that quoting tool. We also use that for all of our leads when they schedule a consultation. We have the automation set up so that the proper people are notified, the proper emails go out, things like that. We don't do, so I don't want people to be overwhelmed with like, I have to develop all these emails and all this stuff. It can be very simple, and that's how we use it. But I was looking through our automation, our workflows, and we have a lot of them. Those are a couple of good examples that I wanted to share.
Good.
Love it. Thank you, Kelly. And I'll add in there, yeah, the automation can be used across like the whole platform. I personally, when our team, like there's a new partner or provider that signs up, we have like there's like an automated email that gets sent to us, right, to notify me, hey, Austin, somebody just signed up for the program. So it's more than just like reaching out to folks. It's impactful stuff. And then last but certainly not least here, guys, it's
this is my
the
favorite.
ability. Yep. This is everybody here should be your favorite. The ability to report and customize capabilities of the Marketing Hub, and this is really where you're gonna get to prove the ROI. So you've got things like web traffic analytics, right? You can see how your content is performing with detailed filters, such as like a bounce rate, average time on page, and so much more. So you really get the data behind the people going to the site. That custom reporting, allowing yourself to know, which blogs are doing well, which social posts are doing the best, what time of day is it going to be? Am I going to get the most interactions? Like all of this stuff is so important. Being able to spend $1,000 on an advertising campaign and directly tie that back to the customers you get and see the ROI on it. I can't express it enough. Custom objects, we had kind of like touched about on how HubSpot is, very customizable. You're able to, the finance companies, jewelry companies, the accounting companies, you all are able to create custom objects in there, make it seem like this is like a completely accounting-based, CRM. You don't need to go to another, accounting, CRM that's specific and you need coding for. And then last but not least, a Salesforce integration. A lot of companies we work with are also using Salesforce. And so at that professional level, you've got like that full Salesforce integration where you can have, kind of like this like bi-directional sync, to pass the leads along to your sales team. So from like a very high level, that's kind of like the Marketing Hub professional overview. Really just kind of like showing you all kind of from somebody's on Facebook, somebody's on Instagram, they're scrolling through their phone, they're at the airport, they're on the couch, they're doing whatever, they're seeing your advertisements. How are we going to convert these folks into customers and report on it? And that's what the Marketing Hub does, I think, at a very, high level. So that's really all I have
at the beginning, Austin, that sort of a reasonable goal is within a year, someone could progress to the professional suite. So if this feels a little bit overwhelming with all these bullets and someone's thinking, I'm not sure where to start, that could be a good piece of just get some of the basics done, and then within a year work your way toward the other pieces. Is that right?
Absolutely. That's why we have the free tools and the starter tools. We want people to be able to walk before they can run. It's so important. And so I think, like I was saying before, I think most of the folks in here are going to see some value out of at least those initial levels. Maybe there might be a company in here that's ready to kind of get started, at that professional level. And, and that's where we've got, the inbound success teams, all of our coaching teams. The best folks are the happiest folks, the ones that are going to keep on recommending HubSpot to other people. And,
sure.
If our CEO ever sees this, that's the flywheel, that keeps the wheel keep on spinning. And that's essentially HubSpot.
Good. Okay. Before people go, we have a couple of additional things with some offers. So if you like this kind of topic and other things around running a practice, we would really encourage you to listen to the podcast, The Modern CPA Success Show. So wherever you get your podcast, that's available. We have lots of different speakers and topics and case studies, and that's a great way to learn. For something a little bit more interactive, Slack users, we have a CFO community. So we've got an awful lot of people on there. They're pretty active with a marketing club and a book club and questions. And I see a lot of just individual questions out there that people are asking, getting resources, trading ideas, and that's a pretty good active resource. If the idea of CFO services is of interest to you, we're really excited to offer a virtual CFO playbook. So this is really a soup to nuts, pretty intensive course that describes to people all the different pieces of how virtual CFO services can be offered to people. 15 entire modules. In addition to the class, it does include a free hour of coaching. There's a book that comes along with it. I mentioned the CFO community. That is part of this service, as well as we have a once per week meeting on Tuesdays, a CFO fireside chat. Usually 5 to 10 different CPA firms that are getting together and sharing all sorts of ideas of this kind of service and running a practice, things like that. And there's discounts on software tools. So this is a class that we've gotten really excited about, and the interest has been really high, and we're seeing more and more people sign up, which builds that community for us. So a couple different offers for you. Would like to thank our speakers. So Austin and Kelly, thank you very much for presenting today. This, I think, was really helpful. You do have Kelly's email address, so if you want to reach out and get more information, including just if you want some things specific to HubSpot, Kelly can pass those along to Austin. Thank you guys very much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks everybody.
Thanks, Austin.
Bye-bye.